Howdy! Welcome to Shelf Reflections, episode 2.
Oh my god! What is that?
I was not planning on starting this yet, but Gavin simply would not have it any other way.
Yeah, I really wanted to be here for it, because, you know, the first episode was so groundbreaking. Anyway.
Shelf Reflections, episode 2. If you have not seen episode 1, go do that.
Yeah, it'll be linked down below.
Basic premise, I believe, 748 books, maybe. But I need to fix some shelves before I can reflect on them. So we're going to do that before we get into the nitty gritty.
Yeah, because I'm not going to lie, as much as I love this room so much, these shelves, they need a makeover.
There's like one shelf that really needs a makeover.
And honestly, if the one shelf is disorganized, all of them look disorganized.
Yeah, fair.
We're going to sort that out first, and then we can get into the actual episode.
Okay.
Okay?
I'm being directed this time. This is the shelf in question that really needs help, because it is packed and starting to get double stacked. This is shelf 4.7, and I think I need to spread it down to 4.8.
If you stack toilet bound, you'll be able to put those on the top, and then you could spread them out between those two shelves.
That's a better idea. Yeah, okay. So these mangas here can go up there. I can't even point.
You know what?
But up there.
Look, I'll take over. Should I put those up to the top? You know? Simples.
I do feel like I need to explain the mostly empty shelf, though. I've lent out all of my toilet bound to my cousin who really wanted to read them. So they will be coming back, and that does occupy that whole shelf. But as Gavin said, if I just stack them instead, that will give me a little bit more room. So then we can move these up. So 4.6 becomes 4.1. And then we can spread these onto 4.6.
Yeah, look at how jam-packed that shelf is. All of the healing fiction.
And I've got a couple more that I need to add in. So, let's do it.
Let's do it. It's gonna look shit. It's gonna look shit if you do it. And then, yeah, so you put those there, and then toilet bound will be stacked like this. Because that will fit all the way up there.
Yeah, because it's square. Yeah, it will. You're right.
That will fit like that.
Yeah.
It's already looking so much better. Are you kidding me? This is looking gorgeous.
My candle's gonna have to
move.
Hang
on, because you still need to input these in your spreadsheet.
Yes.
There's 2 of these.
Oh, one's a hardback, one's a paperback. Okay.
Oh, that's so much better, Jade. Why didn't you do that to begin with? Genuinely.
Because I didn't think about doing that because I knew that toilet bound took up that whole shelf.
Silly Billy. It's nearly 11 p.m. and that's when we're starting this. Nearly 11 p.m. And we are getting a flight early in the morning, by the way. We're getting a flight. We have to be up at like 4:35 a.m.
That's
essentially.
Crazy.
It is. But I'm too wired. I was too excited to do this episode.
You were.
So.
Now I need to fix the actual spreadsheet.
I'll go do it.
The boring part.
Go do it.
Beautiful boy. Hello, beautiful boy. Oh. We are now prepared. The spreadsheet has been updated. We are ready to pick our shelf.
I'm so excited!
At this point in time, I own 748 books.
Oh my god.
Those books are split across 8 shelves. And the name of the game is...
It's the name of the game!
Shelf Reflection.
Oh yeah, Shelf Reflection, that's it. Go again.
Snap to me in the corner and the spreadsheet. Here we have my current statistics, 748, total read 57.8%, 40.8% unread. I've shown you the spreadsheet before, so we won't talk about that for too long because we know that down here in the bottom is what's going to be important to us. So without further rambling, let's just go and roll ourselves a d8 and find what shelf I will be focusing on this time.
If it's 5 again, I'm going to flip my lid.
I'm really hoping it's not 5 again.
Okay, we'll rig it. Ooh.
Go! Fucking 5!
What the fuck?
Oh, Gavin!
We're doing it again. I'm sorry. I'm putting my foot down. As the director, I'm putting my foot down. Well, hang on, we'll go 5. Do it again, because you do it again to get the shelf number. Let's just see what will come up. But we're not doing this shelf. We're doing it again.
Okay.
As the director.
So because there's only 6 shelves on that one, I do swap it over to a normal D6.
God.
And then roll 1. It would be 5.1.
No. No. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I feel as a rule, you can't do the same bookshelf 2 episodes in a row. That should be a rule. Because, look, Jade, I love you. Mm-hmm. But if you make this series boring, I'm stealing it from you. I will steal Shelf Reflection. So if you do number 5 again, I'm stealing your series. And I'm not, you know what, I'm not even going to
you fucking heard it here first!
I'm not even going to give you credit.
That would be mean. Okay.
So we're doing it again. Well,
I'm not allowed to do shelf number 5.
It's part of the rule book. It's in the rule book.
Are we cheating on episode 2?
No, it's not cheating because it's in the rules and I do the same shelf twice.
Okay.
You need to spread out.
Let's try again.
Come on, be a good one.
2!
2, we wanted 2.
2 is a good drop.
Well, yeah, 2 is a great drop.
2 is a really good drop, and 2 is a full drop as well.
Yeah, it's 7.
So, if it lands on 8, we have to roll again, obviously, but I don't have a D7, so...
Oh my god.
Roll again.
Oh my god.
6.
It's literally that shelf.
It's literally that shelf.
It's literally that shelf. We just put...
Gavin.
We just put...
It's the Legacy of Light shelf.
Oh! It's Legacy of Light. Shut the front door. Oh my god, you have to read it.
I have to read Legacy of Light.
Oh my god, that's hilarious, Jay. That's come out perfectly.
I am much more excited for this shelf than I was the shelf that came in episode 1.
Lads, let's go.
So let's look at the actual shelf. 5.6.
No, 2 points.
2.6, not 5. I'm not having 5.
Do you want to read?
No, I do not. 5s are on my mind. 2.6. So we have got 8 unread books, 8 read books, 2 DNF books.
Oh, I'd be interested to know what those DNFs are. You can bring up the shelf, right?
Yes.
On this.
Let's have a look. At shelf 2.6. Okay. Oh, of course, they are both right there. Yeah, I did DNF both the Phoenix King and the Village Library Demon Hunting Society. The Phoenix King I could be encouraged to re-look at.
Yeah, try again.
But the Village Library Demon Hunting Society, I don't know, I think I would need to be in, really the right mood for that one. But, Legacy of Light, Inkblood Sister Scribe, First Binding, a biggie, Fire Within Them, biggie, Ashes of the Sun is a biggie, House of Frost and Feathers is a biggie.
But it's on the TBR.
Fires of Vengeance is a biggie. It is a shelf of chunkers. So with that in mind, let's go look at the shelf.
Oh, Maria.
Okay.
Oh, my Lord. You sent your son to save us.
Took me a second to work out what he was singing. Okay. The standout contestant
is, of course,
is the thing that has been haunting me for about 2 years now. So,
I mean, look at the bookmark. The bookmark's still in there.
Yes.
Would you start from the beginning again?
Funny you should say this. I actually did start it again from the beginning last week.
Because
it came up in some sprints, and I was like, you know what? It could be the time
to read.
And I am now. This is a recent positioning of page 264.
Well, that's good.
And I've got it on my Kindle.
That's even better.
That is even better. So that is being read in episode 2. I can't bloody believe it.
I know, I love it.
Believe it.
I love it.
And I could just make it a Matthew Ward party and read The Fire Within Them as well.
You do it.
But overall, I would say this shelf is quite reflective of me. Because I've loved, like, let's just say, love. Liked, but want to continue.
Mm-hmm.
Loved.
Okay.
Like, there's a lot of, like, good books in here.
So pull out the TBR. Well, obviously you may not be able to read all of them in this video, but I just want to see the options, like, visually. Okay, now, the 2 that you don't want to read the most. Like, you don't want to, like, the least, sorry. The 2 you don't want to read the least.
This, because I would need to reread
the first one, yeah.
Probably this.
Okay. And then
this is on my Polathon
TBR. It is. So pull that out because then that's definitely going to have to be read.
It's on the TBR.
It's on the TBR. So we're left with
this
5.
Has to be
Has
read.
Has to. No other option. So to complement those 2, is it essentially going to be a fantasy episode? It's a fantasy.
It is.
It's because I'm here. I am the fantasy.
Well, you
I
made
have manifested
the rule
this.
That stopped this being another middle grade episode.
Yeah, and everyone's going to thank me for it. When we get a shelf, Jade might not read all of them in that shelf and get it 100% in this episode. The shelves could come up again. This is just as much as she can read in the time she's given herself. Like and subscribe.
Your time has come.
Your time has come. Your days are numbered.
Hello. It has been a while since the start of this vlog. It was before we went to Iceland. It's now been 2 weeks, I think, since that clip. Went to Iceland, spent a week in Iceland, had the time of my life. The Iceland vlog is up on my channel somewhere already. It has now been a week since then, and I have come down with a rotten cold, and I feel terrible. So, content-wise at the minute, there is nothing from me, because I'm just not with it at all. But I have been reading Legacy of Light, but I have not been reading an awful lot of it. I am 40% in, so not quite halfway, but 40% into. Come on, do the button. Log yourself. Okay, it's having a moment. Look at that enormous font size. Yeah, I am 40% into Legacy of Light, and I love it. Of course, I love it. I loved it when I was reading the first couple of books. I loved it, and I have just been putting off reading Legacy of Light. And I am having a fantastic time, as expected. It's surprising to me, actually, like, how much time has spanned. Like, in the beginning of the first one, our main character, Jadeyraereads, like, he's just a young boy, and he's now, like, in his 40s. We've got lots of time spanned, and lots of, like, political changes and stuff, and people that you consider being, like, on the good side here definitely being questionable. Lots of, like, morally grey characters and goings on and stuff. Lots to dig my teeth into. However, this cold is making me feel a little bit not with it. Like, I can't. My eyes hurt, my head hurts, I cannot read right now. So, I need an audiobook. I have not listened to an audiobook in what feels like ages. Like, it's been like over a month since I picked up an audiobook. And there are a few things from that shelf that I can listen to on audio. So I've got the audio of The Fire Within Them, which is Matthew Ward. I've got the audio of Ashes of the Sun, Django Wexler, and I've got the audio of The House of Frost and Feathers by Laura Weisbrunn. The House of Frost and Feathers is on my February TBR because it fits for Polathon, with it being a Polar Fantasy and a Baba Yaga retelling. So I think I'm going to start listening to the audiobook for The House of Frost and Feathers and take myself to bed with my very ill head and make a little dent in that one as well. Not quite how I wanted to structure this, but I don't want to just not read or consume anything. but I cannot physically read with how ill my head is feeling, like just head cold. So yeah, not how I wanted to be updating you in this one, but it is what it is. I'm enjoying Legacy of Light though, but it was never really a question of whether I would enjoy it or not. It was just me needing to pull myself together a little bit. But yeah, I'll probably come back to you when I've made decent progress in one thing or the other. But yeah, I am not very well. You can really see all my mess from this angle. I have completed the House of Frost and Feathers, and I ended up enjoying this one more than I thought I was enjoying it. Like, for the first half, it was feeling very 3-star for me. Probably up until about the 300-page mark, actually, it was feeling very 3-star for me. Like, I was enjoying it, it was fine, I liked the settings. I do love a Baba Yaga retelling, a House with Chicken Legs retelling, and that is exactly what this is. This one follows a young girl who comes across Baba Zima's house, and Baba Zima is, like a Baba Yaga sort of character. She has these abilities, she is a witch of a kind, and she has an apprentice, and the apprentice is looking for an assistant. And Marisha, who is our main character, is kind of on the run from her life. She's escaping her life because there is a sleeping plague that is sweeping over the world, and her parents have fallen to the sleeping plague, and she's trying to escape falling to the plague herself, and being in Baba Zima's house with chicken legs offers some sort of protection to her. She has to be an assistant to Elena, who is the apprentice of Baba Zima. For the most part, as I say, up to that 300-page mark, it is very much like Marisha trying to fit in, trying to find her place, kind of battling with the fact that Baba Zima and Elena don't think that she's like the right fit for them. She doesn't fit their lifestyle. She hasn't got like the aptitude for the magic and the power that they have and what they can do, but she is there, and she is somehow tied to that world. Up to the 300-page mark, as I say, it was fine, it was okay, but it wasn't doing anything particularly special for me. Past that 300-page mark, I obviously cannot tell you the ins and outs of why or what happened, because enormous spoilers. But it just takes a bit of a turn that I really enjoy, where our characters start to really piece things together that don't necessarily immediately seem obvious as going together. And why Marisha is important in this story becomes a bit more apparent, and how Elena is important to the story, and Baba Zima and the people from Baba Zima's past and their family, and this web of people, and how fate ties people together. But is it fate? Is it someone steering? Is it someone choosing? And what all of this has to do with this sleeping plague. And of course, I didn't notice that this is actually like a plague doctor sort of thing, and he is the beaked man. He is like the visual representation of this plague. I really liked the visuals of it. It was a very imaginative world. Worlds. There's so much that I want to talk about that I can't talk about because spoilers, and that sucks. But bottom line, I love a Baba Yaga retelling. I love myself some Slavic folklore. We know that. I'm really happy to have read this one as well. Took me by surprise from that 300-page mark on with how much I didn't know I was invested in these characters and how they were going. And the development of, like, Elena, who goes from being this really hard to understand rough exterior can't break through to any sort of like softness from her, and the development we see in the relationship that she does build with Marusha is really sweet. 4 stars overall for this one. Very glad to have read it. And that is the first book off the shelf done, but that does mean that I am going to be going back to Legacy of Ash. I had a bit of a break for some audio and some immersion reading with that one. I will likely need to break this up with more audio and immersion reading, because something about this book is just going to take me forever to get through. But I'm at 40% at the minute, so I will continue with more Legacy of Light. I am enjoying it, but there's still just something weighing me down about this book. But I'm going to make some progress with Legacy of Light, and I will come back to you and we'll see where we take it from there. Well, I knew there was a reason that I was putting off Legacy of Light, and it's taken me long enough to get through it. And I have just sat here and bawled. And I'm now in that like post-cry, really tired. Oh, I'm just gonna keep thinking about it. 5 stars, 5 stars. That trilogy is phenomenal. 5 stars. I'm going to talk to you probably about it tomorrow after I've taken some time to process my feelings, because my feelings are very sad. Very strong, very sad. So I'm going to sit with them, and I'll talk to you tomorrow, and we'll see where we go from there. Hello. It is the next day. I have taken some time to process my feelings, and obviously I've been reading on my Kindle, so I can actually take the bookmark out of the physical book that's been in there for forever. But Legacy of Light is done. I have completed it, finished it. It's done. This chunker is complete. This whole trilogy is now actually done and cemented itself as one of my favourite trilogies. This was incredible. If there was an audiobook for Legacy of Light, I would have read all 3 of these back to back when I started with Legacy of Ash. I just know I would have. It would have happened. Because I read these 2 back to back, not last year, year before, and then it's taken me forever to get to Legacy of Light. I've been going on about how I hate how long it's taken me to get to it, but now it has finished. Obviously, there is, in terms of what happens in this book, there is not a lot that I can tell you, because it's the 3rd book in a trilogy, an epic fantasy trilogy. It has an enormous plot. A lot happens in these books.
We span generations, really, from where we are at the beginning, where we see, if we take it from Jadeyraereads, who is kind of our main character throughout it, we start with him just being a young boy, and we have his mother, and then towards the end of it, we've got Jadeyraereads being an older man, and we've got his, like, the next generation, his children as well. So it's a generational story throughout Jadeyraereads' whole life. I love these characters, and it had such an enormous and epic ending. The battles were so intense, like, it just kept happening, like, everything had a climax of its own. Like, there was a big battle, there was a big revelation, there was a big character moment, a return or an exit, or a battle, a declaration. Like, it just kept happening, and it kept me going. And I think what was holding me back with this, with reading it, starting it, putting it off for years, was a little bit of fear of how this was going to end. And I was right to feel that fear, because this tore my heart to shreds at the end. I sobbed. I bawled. I can't remember the last time a book made me cry that much. Like, we wouldn't even be close with Before the Coffee Gets Cold. This did make me cry, and I said when I read that, like, I can't remember the last time a book made me cry that much. It made me sob. This wrecked me. Wrecked me. Oh my god. So, absolutely 5 stars. No shadow of doubt. These books, I feel, need moving onto the favourites shelf. And maybe that is something that we explore in shelf reflection as well. That's not something I'd considered, because it was mostly just reading to get the percentage down, not moving things to other shelves. But if something does become a favourite, those shelves over there, excluding like the Brandon Sanderson, Hobb, and all my Fairy Loot books at the bottom, like the top 4 shelves of the shelves that side of the room are my favourites shelves. And I think that's where these belong. So we may move them. The series as a whole massively focuses on this battle between dark and light. There is an old evil sorceress type woman called Malatriant, whose legend of her darkness and how she destroyed so much kind of fuels a big part of this story. One of our characters is kind of pinned down to be her heir, and is determined that the darkness that she has promised is within him is definitely not. And then on the flip side of that, we have some characters who discover the light within them. One of our characters becomes the Lady of Light, and she has a legacy of light, and that's how it comes. But there's a lot of battles between that, and knowing who is good and who is evil. And yes, it's light and dark, so there is a stark difference between the side of the light and the side of the dark, but there isn't necessarily a clear line until there is, but between who is right and who is wrong, and who is doing things for the right reasons, and who has good intentions or bad intentions, and if the way they're going about doing things is good or evil. Like, there's a lot of morally grey ground in this series. And I think there's just a level of realism to that. Like, it isn't always a stark good and bad, light and dark sort of thing. And sometimes you will find your nearest and dearest to you being on opposite sides of that. And what if the person you consider a brother is the strongest opposition you will ever face? But then that bond, is that something that ever breaks and goes away? I can't fully explore that with you right here, because of course it is the 3rd book in a trilogy. It's the end of a much bigger story. But man, I loved this so much. There were obviously those heartbreaking moments, there were some heartwarming moments. One of the characters in here made so many stupid decisions. In character, stupid decisions though. Like, as a reader, I was furious with everything that he did, and that fury made me need to pause, but come back to it. I am besotted. Loved it. 5 stars. Fantastic. So we have had a 4-star and a 5-star read so far in this Shelf Reflections, and we have been here for far too long. It's no longer even February. I'm going to continue though, because I'm not just going to read 2 books for an episode, so we're going to continue. But before we continue, I thought we would just evaluate the shelf again. So let's do that. I think I am going to be honest with myself right now, in that the Village Library Demon Hunting Society, I tried this one and I DNF'd it. I did not like it. I've DNF'd it. I'm going to unhaul it. It's going in the pile. So that is going to be another one off the shelf, which helps us out. And my choice for my next read is between this one and this one. These are my choices. Something about Ashes of the Sun is really calling to me. Or we've got another Matthew Ward, and I have just finished a Matthew Ward, so maybe I go for Ashes of the Sun. Something about this one is just screaming out at me. It's on the shelf. I was going to put it on my March TBR anyway. So, Wexler's best work yet. This one has a brother and sister, but the younger sister was taken by the Twilight Order, who are like these really powerful people. And she's trained up to be a centaur wielding forbidden arcana to enforce the Dawn Republic's rule. Her brother, Gaia, swore that he would destroy the order that stole his sister. I don't think he knows that she's been trained up to be one of them. 12 years later, brother and sister are 2 very different people. She's the Twilight Order's brightest prodigy. He is a thief, bandit, and revolutionary. Together, the siblings will discover that not even ties of blood will keep them from splitting the world in 2. So they're on like 2 opposing sides. I'm intrigued to see how that goes down, and I've heard fantastic things about this. I know a lot of people love this one, so I'm going to go for this. This could well be my last read of this vlog, because I do actually want to get it out to you. But that's the one I'm going to go for. I will read more Matthew Ward at a later date. So that's one extra thing being unhauled and one extra thing being started. We will, of course, do another rundown at the end, and I'll see if I do move the legacy books. I'll need to do some shifting, so we'll work that one out as well later. But for now, I'm going to start this one. Just a tiny little update for you on my reading of Ashes of the Sun. I am about 25-30% of the way into this. I'm on page 225 and I love it. I feel this could be another 5-star read. We could be in the territory of this video having 2 chunky 5-star reads. Maybe. But I am very much enjoying this. I feel like I'm just becoming a fan of Django Wexler's writing. Like, in How to Become the Dark Lord and Die Trying, there was obviously a very comical tone to that one. And I really liked it.
But I thought at the time that the comical tone was just because of the matter of that book, like her dying and becoming alive again and repeating the same storyline over and over, and the whole like, I'm sick of this shit sort of thing. I thought that that's where the comedy came from. But even in this, when there's not that like comical nature to the story at all, it's still coming through. So I'm really enjoying the writing style, but I'm also very intrigued in both sides of this story. So we've got brother and sister, Gaia and Maya. Gaia and Maya? Maybe it's Maya. Gaia and Maya. And Maya was taken by the Twilight Order when she was very, very young. I think she was about 5 or something. And Gaia never wanted her to be taken. And he's like never forgiven them for taking her away. But they claim to have taken her away to be able to heal her from this illness that she had as a child. Jump forward to, I think she's like 17 and then Gaia's in his 20s. She is now the prodigy of the Twilight Order. She's been raised to become one of them, and she is the prodigy child. And Gaia is a thief, a rebellious figurehead of a kind of planning this heist, whereas Maya is continuing her journey to become like the elite of the Twilight Order, a centaur, which is like the most powerful being, to uphold the Empire's law and rule and eradicate the Darkin, which is like the dark magic creature monster things. But it seems like the way they've fallen into each of these different sections of society, they have very different values, and I'm interested to see where that's going to go. But I'm loving it. It's very much a me sort of story so far. And I'm also loving the fact that I've fallen right back into adoring my big chunky political fantasies. So I'm gonna carry on reading this, and we'll see how much longer it takes me. I do really want to get this video up to you. I realise that it's been way too long since episode 1. All of the hype for it's probably just gone cut. But you'll get it. I'm gonna keep reading. Do you want an update partway through, or do you just want to hear about it when I've finished it? Maybe I'll just tell you about it when I've finished it. We'll see what happens. Hello. I have finished Ashes of the Sun. It is done. I have completed it. This was absolutely fantastic, and I am so excited to be back on my epic fantasy hype. Like, I'm so excited to be back into this. So, well, I read this, I've read Legacy of Light, and I've read, it's over there, but House of Frost and Feathers in this video, which I know isn't a lot, but let me just gush about this for a minute. I was excited about this, I was looking forward to this, but I didn't know it was going to be quite as phenomenal as it was. This is everything that I love in a fantasy. We had politics, we had action, we had excitement, we had rebels, we had internal conflict, external conflict, a bigger conflict. We had the sibling relationship in this that I didn't even know was something that I loved, but I would be so interested to see more dynamics like that, like the separated siblings ending up on opposing sides of this war and how that impacted their relationship. This was glorious. And why I think this got under my skin quite so much, and why I ended up so invested in this, is because I don't know whose side I'm on. I don't know who I'm supposed to be rooting for. I don't know if Maya, the sister, who is the prodigy child of the Order, who are supposed to uphold order in this empire, I don't know if, there's corruption inside the Order, there always is corruption inside those sorts of organisations. Her intentions seem pure, and she has this determination to make the Order something that is supposed to protect people and look after people. And then Gaia, her brother, very much is on the flip side of that, that's like, there is too much corruption inside that, it needs to be obliterated, it needs to be gone. And I can understand
both of their points of views. So I don't know who I'm supposed to root for, but I love them both. And I agree with them both. And I just want to know more of where their story takes them and if their paths continue to cross. Because where we left this, oh my god, where we left this and what Gaia did to Kit, that will only make sense if you've read it, but what Gaia did to Kit at the end of this, I need to continue. This was so easily a 5-star. This gave me 5-star feels pretty much from like the 100-page mark. I was not far into this before I had reached the conclusion that I was going to love this and it was going to be a new favourite. In fact, I think I was only 20% into this when this happened. I have purchased the rest of the series. It's just a trilogy, but I have purchased both of them. This one is book 2, Blood of the Chosen, and then we've got Emperor of Ruin. And can we just take a minute to see how much smaller they are than the first one? Why? Why is that the case? But I am very excited to continue this, and I'm thinking I might just pick it up almost immediately. So the vlog that I'm going to film after this is probably going to feature this in it because I'm so eager to continue. But if you like the same sort of like epic fantasy that I do, I mean, read Legacy of Ash and don't wait 2 years to get to Legacy of Light like I did, and read like Ashes of the Sun. I was going to call this one Legacy of Ash as well. Ashes. There's a theme of ashes, clearly. Yeah, if you like that epic fantasy, the conflict, the good and bad, the light versus dark, but not really knowing, I suppose in a way, similar. We have a sibling relationship in this, we have a sibling relationship in this. We have kind of a light versus dark, order versus chaos. We have light versus dark, order versus chaos. I wouldn't say the siblings in this end up on opposite sides, but they definitely have different opinions. Maybe I do have a type. And both of these have been 5-star, although I should more so be holding this one up for you here. Both of these have been 5-star, and I have thoroughly enjoyed both of them. Oh, so that is where I'm ending the reading for this portion, but obviously by having 2 more books here, I need to pop them in the shelf. So what does that mean for where I'm at percentage-wise when I'm adding books? I've read 3 books off the shelf now, but I've just added 2 more. So, as we usually do, let's round this one out at the spreadsheet. Okay, here we are back at the spreadsheet. It feels like it's been a while since we've been here, but let's update this. Firstly, House of Frost and Feathers down here is now red. Legacy of Light, finally, is now red. And Ashes of the Sun, as well there, is now red. We also saw me unhaul the Village Library Demon Hunting Society. So what I've actually done is created a graveyard. And in the graveyard, we're just going to be listing the ones that I've unhauled. So I've added in the unhauls from episode 1, and then, because this is when I've created the graveyard, I've added Village Library Demon Hunting Society at the top there. The status in the graveyard will either be red or DNF. Even though I haven't started these pair here, they're still DNFs because I'm DNFing the series, if you know what I mean. So I've added that in there, which means in the library I can take this one and delete the row. Now, I was debating also unhauling the Phoenix King. I think I might want to try that again sometime so I'm gonna hold on to it for now. This shelf may come up again in future, who knows, because I've definitely not made great progress on this one. But if we go to stats, 2.6, is that the number we're on? Yeah, 2.6. 64% read. It's got to be better than it was. And 5 unread books. Fires of Vengeance, I am still excited to read, but I want to reread Rage of Dragons first and know more about what's happening with the rest of that series. The Witch King, I thought I was going to read in this video. If this video didn't take so long, I'm so sorry. I probably would have made more progress. The Fire Within Them, I will read. Still want to read it. The First Binding, I still want to read. Inkblood Sister Scribe, I'm less excited about, but I'm open to be encouraged because I know that people have said good things about that. Yeah. All of the ones on here that I have read, however, I have loved. These are all brilliant. I mean, Darkness Before Them was 3 stars, but I'm excited for The Fire Within Them. But yeah, all of these have been fantastic books. So it is reflective of my reading taste in terms of the ones that I've read. It's a good shelf. And I do think, like, Fires of Vengeance I expect to be 5 stars. The Fire Within Them, I'm hoping for better things, so maybe like a 4, we'll hope for that. Witch King, I have decent expectations for. The First Binding, I have decent expectation for. It's just these first 2 that I'm not sure about, but I'm not sure enough to get rid of them. So, they're staying there. Anyway, what I do need to do is add in 1 row above that and 1 row above that to add in the Blood of the Chosen and what was the other one called? The Emperor of Ruin. Emperor of Ruin. There isn't a "the" there, and they are again Django Wexler. They have made their way onto shelf 2.6. They are novels. They are adult, and they are, oh, I missed fantasy at the top of the list there, fantasy, and they are TBR books, which then takes us back over here to 57%. So this episode has not been very successful in terms of getting the TBR down, but in terms of reflecting on shelf 2.6, I'm still very happy with it. So, I'm gonna say this episode has been semi-successful. Semi. But it was a big shelf with a lot of big books on it. So, we take it. It's fine. We move on. With that being said, I am happy to now bring this episode to a close because it has been so long since the first episode, and I am really sorry for that. I have had a rough February. A good February in terms of Iceland, which happened during this vlog, but then work has been insane, and I've been ill, and Legacy of Light took me ages to get through, but it was worth every single moment of it. So, it is what it is. But I hope you've enjoyed still, nonetheless. I hope you've had a great time, and I hope you are looking forward to episode 3, which I will be starting very, very soon. I'm excited to see what shelf I roll. But in the meantime, hope you've enjoyed this one, and I will see you for whatever comes next, and then episode 3. Bye!